and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to a slightly different video today. I have decided to do a monthly reset vlog, and I'm thinking about doing more of these on my channel. So if you are interested in these types of videos, definitely let me know in the comment section below, because I haven't really done too many of them on my channel before, and I thought it might be nice to do them every now and then just to really show the in-depth planning that goes into running a business based on content creation and as a freelancer, as a freelance photographer. So if you're interested in more of these kinds of videos, definitely let me know. I know that for myself, I always love watching these videos, and I've been wanting to do one of these for a while now. Ever since I got back from Japan, I feel like I'm stuck in a bit of a loop, and at times I feel like my routines have just not been as optimized as I want them to be. But at the same time, I also feel like I'm so set in some routines that I'm also not leaving enough time for the things that I love, like being creative and actually doing creative projects that are not related to work. So I do feel like I'm in that bit of a spot right now where I just need to get back into some sort of rhythm that really suits me. And I don't know about you guys, but if you travel overseas or you go on a trip somewhere and you come back, please tell me I'm not the only one that just feels like completely lost with what they're doing, especially in the first few weeks of coming back home. And I felt that way definitely after Japan recently. So I've got my cup of tea today, and we're going to do a really chill vlog today. This is just going to be talking through some of my goal planning for next month, which is July. It's the end of June at the moment, and I'm really looking forward to kind of starting afresh in the next month and really getting my head together a bit more with what I've got to do. So let's get straight into it. Now, I know these vlogs can kind of be different for everyone, and everyone kind of does them in their own little way, and I'm still probably going to be figuring out what I want to do with these particular videos each month. I mean, mainly I think I'll probably talk about some goal planning and I guess what's just been happening in the previous months, and sort of talking about whether I've achieved previous goals from previous months as well. I am a bit of a goal setter, but I'm also not that type of person to set a bunch of really specific goals every month. I don't like to put too much pressure on myself because I know myself pretty well when it comes to these things. And if I overcommit and I set too many goals, I just already know that I'm not going to reach those goals. So I try to be very realistic with what I'm actually aiming for each month. And as I said, I've been a little bit lost in my routines lately. I'm just looking to get back into something that works for me, that gives me that little bit of freedom to move around during the week and change things, and just a bit more flexibility with actually moving into creative projects that, like I said, that are not related to work. So in this video, I guess I'll be showing you just a little bit of how I plan out my work priorities when I do have things like sponsored videos and things that I need to be completing for the month. I will be going through that a little bit in this video and just talking about my monthly planner that I tend to use. I tend to write everything down each month in a monthly planner, just like on a written pad. And I find these are a lot more visual for me. I do struggle with planning things via digital calendars. Please tell me I'm not the only one with this, because I have struggled with this for a long time. I still use digital calendars and the like, but I just honestly feel like sometimes it's just better to write things down because I find I remember it better. I just feel like it's a more me thing to do, but that's a very personal choice. I feel like each to their own when it comes to planning and what works for them. I've spoken about it a lot on my channel before, but I am an INFP, so honestly, planning does not come naturally to me. I will say that I've learned to enjoy it a lot as I've gotten older, but I still feel like I need to find myself routines that really work for me, and not smothering myself, not overwhelming myself, not overcommitting. And I think that goes for anyone, not just INFPs in terms of personality types, but I do feel that stuff like this doesn't come naturally to me. So I really have to force myself each month to kind of come out and actually start planning my month. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't get anything done. So as I said, I will be filling out a new calendar page for the month of July, and you can see a little bit of my thought processes when I talk about my sort of rough routine each week where I'm filming for YouTube, because primarily at the moment, this is what I'm doing. It is content creation. I've found that especially this year, all of a sudden there was a shift from me being mainly a freelance photography business to suddenly mainly doing YouTube videos. And it's been a really, really big shift for me. I still haven't found the exact routines, like I mentioned, that really work for me in this instance. I'm still figuring things out. I didn't really expect it to be such a big shift from last year to this year in terms of like suddenly not just being a freelance photographer anymore. I am virtually a content creator and am practically making a full-time wage now off doing content creation. So I feel that I need to be focusing on that and finding the right ways to do that. I'll also be writing out my goals for the next month. So as I mentioned, I'm not a huge goal setting person month to month. I actually really like doing this at the beginning of the year and then kind of revisiting every 6 months. And maybe next year I'll do a video on when I actually do my goal setting for the year and go through what I'd like to achieve. And I think that it could make for an interesting video. I had planned to do one this year, but I still haven't edited any of it, and I don't think it's going to get up, to be honest, this year, because it feels like a bit of a waste now, being that it was nearly 6 months ago that it was filmed. But I will be writing down some pretty achievable goals for myself in terms of what I would like to achieve in the next month, or what I would like to start focusing on more so. I just kind of put them down as more or less guidelines for myself, because I guess if I don't really write down anything at all and just let things go where they may, I think that that's okay too, and I have been doing that in the past, but it is nice to have that little bit of guidance and just to kind of keep yourself on track when you are working at home, because this is the really big problem when you work from home or you work for yourself, is that a lot of the time you just really need to be able to do these things yourself. There's no one telling you what to do. There's no one standing over your shoulder and giving you a list of things to do. You have to just find the energy, find the strength, find the patience, and really push through procrastination at times to really just do it and do the things. And for someone who doesn't have planning come naturally to them, this has been a hard road for me over the last number of years. Definitely not complaining though. I'm so grateful for the kind of work that I get to do, and I'm so happy to do it. But I do want to avoid myself getting too overwhelmed in future with lots of things that I have to be doing. And yeah, I think this is just what this monthly reset is going to be about month to month, is just making sure that I stay on track and not getting too much in a mode of procrastination all the time. I think especially it's so easy to not make time for creativity, especially when you are a creative freelancer or when you're a content creator or something of a similar nature. I think it's really easy to just suddenly stop making time for creativity. You're so focused on work, you're focused on getting paid, paying your bills, your mortgage or your rent. And I think sometimes it really gets lost in all of that. And true creativity and really putting that time aside for it just doesn't seem to be a priority anymore as you go along. And I think I really want to avoid doing that, because I really love lots of different creative pursuits, and I no longer want to just be known as just a photographer or someone who just does photography. I love so many different things that are creative, and I would love to get into obviously all of them if I could at once, but I would really like to just pace myself and really set that time aside for myself to be creative, do any extra creative projects that I want to do. Like I said, it's just too easy to not do it when you start to fall into the routine of paying your bills and just wanting to get work and doing the work, but there should always really be time for creativity, and I need to make that a focus. And as I mentioned, routines are great, and when I do get in routines, they can be really great to have, keeping me on track, getting things done, but I do feel that sometimes really strict routines for myself personally tends to stifle my creativity. So as an INFP, once again, I do like a little bit of change. I like to adapt and move into new things and not just kind of be in this stale routine over and over again. So I think if you do tend to watch these monthly reset vlogs with me, I'll probably be doing things differently, maybe month to month, just to kind of have that little bit of variety, having those different focuses and making sure that I'm having that bit more change in my day to day. So I'm going to take you guys upstairs now to my office, and we are going to go through some of the goals that I have for the next month and where I'm looking at kind of refreshing and resetting everything. I'm also going to be talking about my current morning routine and what that kind of looks like, because it might be interesting to talk through what my morning routine sometimes looks like, because often it doesn't always look the same. And I want to go through that and talk about how you can kind of navigate that if you're in a similar situation to me, and especially because my morning routine is changing from month to month at times. It is something that affects my work from time to time, because I tend to work better in the mornings, and sometimes I am being pushed to work a little bit later in the day. And we'll go through my current morning routine and what I kind of want to improve there for the coming months as well. But now I'm going to take you guys upstairs and we'll get started with the goal planning. Okay, so we're back in a slightly more familiar spot, and I'm going to show you a couple of my planners that I do work with from month to month to do my monthly reset and really just start from scratch in terms of planning for the month ahead. So the most important one we're going to be looking at today is going to be my monthly planner. And in this one, I usually write down the dates. It's basically a dateless calendar. I think I just got this one from Kmart last year. And I just write down the dates for the month. And then I actually use this one mainly as my content creator calendar. So I actually put in more so my YouTube videos that I'm going to be creating and needing to keep track of, because this kind of requires in some ways its own calendar. My YouTube videos have overtaken me to the point where I can't really just fit them in my other calendars that I have for everything else. I feel that they're such an imperative part of my work now that I really have to be on top of them. And I plan to continue putting out 2 videos a week on my Kayleigh June Creative channel, which is this one. I'm putting out one roughly once a fortnight on my photography channel at the moment. And then I'm also putting out one from time to time on my travel channel that I have with my partner, Wonder Walkers. So I do have quite a lot of YouTube videos that I'm constantly having to create and edit and make sure that I keep track of. So I feel like it needs its own content calendar, which I have just here. So I do also tend to put some things down for Instagram, like if I have some Instagram planning that I'm doing for my travel account that I mainly use at the moment, I do that as well. But I would say that a lot of my Instagram stuff at the moment is quite on the spot because I have started trying to get into a routine again of daily posting. Now, for those of you who have been around on this channel for a little while now, you'll know that I did post a video last year that did really well actually, and it was talking about how I posted onto Instagram daily for 6 months, and I was talking about my results from that. And I feel like the results were really worthwhile, and I really want to get back to doing that. And I feel like even though I've only been doing it for a couple of weeks now, again, I feel like I've already seen such a change in terms of my reach and in terms of my follow account and everything else. So I feel like once again, it's working. I just need to get into more of a routine like I did last time, where I actually just kind of got to the point where I was having my afternoon coffee and I would actually just go and make a reel. Every time I had my afternoon coffee, it was kind of like a habit stacking moment, which really worked for me in the end because it ended up going for 6 months. And I feel that doing things like that can really help with getting you started in a routine. And I'm trying to do that again. I'm actually doing it just before I go to bed at the moment, which I actually don't like that routine because I'm trying to stay away from too much digital before I go to bed. I'm trying to get a better night's sleep at the moment, so that's not really helping. But in future, I want to be starting to move that a little bit earlier in the day and doing that. But I was going to actually just talk about my morning routine along with that at the moment, which is a little bit different to what it was last year. So my husband actually got a new job late last year and he's working from home again now. So we try to match up our hours with each other so then we can sort of maximize the time that we get to spend together each day. And, you know, if we want to go for a walk with the dogs, we can do that when we're both free, and just to kind of align our hours so it sort of works really well. And it was working like really well for me, I think, at the start, because he originally had a shift that was like 8 a.m. till 4:30, which I loved because I mostly enjoy working in the mornings. I feel like I do better work in the mornings. I'm more alert, I'm more awake. I'm that type of person that by about 3 p.m. I am tired and I am really sluggish and I really struggle to get the work done at that time of day. So I actually really liked that shift where he had it a bit earlier in the day, but then he moved on to an 11 a.m. shift till 7:30, which, like, it's not the worst shift, I'll say. It's not the worst, and it's nice to be able to spend that time together in the mornings and do things while shops are still open and all the rest of it. But it is still kind of difficult because I'm starting roughly at about 11 now, which is very late for me to get into my work. And then obviously I've only got a few hours before that 2-3 p.m. time frame hits, and I'm starting to get tired and sluggish. So I think that's been part of the reason why routines have been a little bit off lately. I find that I've been trying to still ease into that a bit more, but I think this is part of the reason some of my routines may change month to month at this point, because it may depend on when my partner has his shifts as well. I think for those days where I can get in earlier and do things, I try to, and then I can finish a little bit earlier on in the daytime. But it is nice to have that time with him, and to have that time with him when we need that time, when we're going off doing appointments or doing whatever. So at the moment I'm sort of working to his schedule, but I think in future that will probably change a little bit, and I'll probably start even just an hour or two earlier before he does. But I think this is why it's really important for me, especially, to be flexible with my routine. And as a content creator, I feel that I do need that flexibility because things can change at any given time. And although you had planned to do something in the week, very easily that can just kind of like fly away and you won't be doing that thing anymore. So that's kind of like my current work balance at the moment. That's what it feels like. It's just like, especially with clients and video posting times and things like that. And then when you're getting script revisions and you just don't know when things are going to get approved. So unfortunately, that's all part of the job, but I wouldn't change it for anything. So yeah, back onto my monthly planner. I will be going through and just writing down my videos that I'll be filming for the month, the main ones that I've developed with my brand partnerships. So I currently have a few brand partnerships each month, specifically even with this channel and my other channel that I have to film videos for each month in the coming months. So I want to make sure that I'm on top of all of that. And I like to write down a lot of my video ideas at the beginning of the month. I find this is a really good way to just kind of get that stress out of the way for the month. Try and think of most of my video ideas ahead of time so I'm not stressing when it comes to the week of filming and I'm like, what am I going to film? What am I going to film? And I've done that way too many times to know that that is not a good feeling to come across. So I try to think about all my video ideas for the month for this channel specifically. At the moment, I'm doing 8 videos a month, roughly. It can be 1 or 2 more depending on the time frame, date range kind of thing per month. But along with my other sponsored videos, I tend to have a certain portion of them sponsored and then a certain portion of them non-sponsored. So the ones that are non-sponsored, I obviously have a little bit more of a say in what they are. I have full control over those and I really have to come up with the ideas all the time. Sometimes when I'm doing brand sponsorship videos, they might have an idea for me and I can kind of develop that or work on that a bit more. But either way, it is good to get a lot of that out at the beginning of the month if I can. I also like to post roughly on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Fridays. They're kind of my main posting dates. So I try to make sure I've got a video out 2 times a week on any one of those days. And I try to make sure that I'm sticking to the schedule with that. So what I'll actually do is I'll write down the names of the videos that I'll be posting for the month and I'll be writing them down on the Tuesdays usually and the Fridays to post. And then sometimes on the odd chance, one video might not be able to go live on the Tuesday and then I'll shift it to the Wednesday instead. I just kind of have that as a bit of a backup day in the week for posting. And then I also like to make sure that I've got my projects written to the right hand side under the notes section because it can get kind of confusing once you've got a few brand partnerships going on and sponsored videos and things like that. It can get confusing, especially if it's cross-platform. So you want to make sure, again, that you're on top of these things. I also tend to plan this out in monday.com at the moment. This is currently the planner that I'm using digitally, and I just find that it tends to work really well for me in terms of my workflow. But I am currently looking for different planners and different digital planners that might work better. So if you do have any recommendations, let me know. One of the things that I have been utilizing a lot of lately has been Metrical as well for a lot of my social media planning because it has been so wonderful to have just everything in one place. Analytics, my content planner, research, like everything is in that one platform, which I really adore. And I have been using that at the beginning of each month as well to do a little bit of planning for my social media accounts. Again, I'm still trying to get into the routine with my travel account for Instagram because I'm sort of doing videos and reels day by day at the moment, but I don't want to have to be posting every day. I want to be able to take that little bit more pressure off myself and not be doing that routine forever. So we will be looking at different routines to get into for planning my content. And now I'm going to be looking into some of my goal setting. So I have been writing out a few little goals that I've got for the coming month, and I just feel that some of these are allowing me to work on my more creative pursuits that are technically not really work related at this point. My travel accounts mainly I'm just trying to kind of build at this point, but I also just want to be doing a lot more travel photography and getting out there doing landscape photography as well, just doing things that make me happy, doing things that make me feel creative. I want to be doing more of those things. So my main goals for the coming month would be to post a Wonder Walkers video every fortnight. Now, I really want this to become a routine that works for me. It is so hard to fit this travel channel in sometimes because obviously my partner and I, we're both busy with work, and I also have 2 other YouTube channels that I have to cater to. I'm also a freelance photographer. Let's not forget that. I do work as a freelance photographer, so that is another side of my business that, you know, I'm still struggling to kind of find out the percentage wise of how much to focus on that, how much to focus on content creation. Content creation is taking a large portion of that at the moment, which I do love. But it is difficult to get those travel videos out as frequently as I would like, but I obviously want to be building this more and more. So I think my first baby step with this is to just do one a fortnight and see how that goes. I think that that is a schedule that I can work to. I just have to be mindful of making sure that my editing and everything is done at a good pace throughout those 2 weeks so it's ready to go by the time that Friday rolls around. So my next goal is posting daily to Instagram for next month. I want to post daily. As I mentioned before, I have been posting daily for the last 2 weeks. I want to keep that routine going, and I would love to keep that routine going for July, and I really want to see how it all works out and whether the statistics are really going to change. I don't know. I really would like to think that I'd get a good result like last year when I filmed my other 6-month daily posting video for Instagram. I really would like to think that I would get good results out of that. So that's what I'm hoping for at the moment, and I'm going to be making that goal of posting daily to Instagram in the next month. Now, this one's a little bit more of a vague goal. I think it's not so specific, and I want to experiment more with this channel. And the reason I say that is because I really still am in that experimental phase with it. I feel like I'm still figuring out what people want to watch, but I also don't want to get myself into a routine, which I feel like I already have to an extent, where I'm just doing really, straightforward talking videos to the camera. Like in a lot of my videos, they've just been kind of points-based videos. I don't move from my desk or my chair. And I just think that this was something that I actually fell into with my photography channel over the last 10 years, where I just probably didn't show maybe enough personality. I didn't show enough of my life behind closed doors. Everything was always or felt so professional, and I think I'd like to just let loose a little bit more with some of the content that I do. I feel that it's too safe and it's too straightforward. And as we all know, being a content creator or being a business owner or a freelancer is never really that straightforward. So I'd like to sort of show a little bit more behind the scenes and really talk about a little bit more in depth what it's like being someone who works for themselves, who works at home, has a very non-conventional job, and talk about that a little bit more and some of the actual realities of that, because sometimes I think that gets glazed over online, as we all know. So yeah, just still experimenting with my content, and that's, I guess, where this video is coming in today. Doing more vlog style content I would like to do, but definitely let me know in the comments section what you would like to see on this channel, because I'm still looking for ideas. I'm still thinking, I'm still trying to figure out what everyone wants to watch. So definitely let me know. Now, the next goal is to take more landscape photos. I want to be getting out more each week. So I've kind of just set this goal at the moment of getting out of the house once a week to take landscape photos. It can be for 30 minutes on a morning, or, just any time throughout the week. It doesn't have to be a huge session or a huge hike or anything that I have to do. I just want to get out and take some photos of my local area, landscape photos primarily, just to keep learning, keep experimenting, and start just working on some creative stuff that is not necessarily work, because, I would just like to have that little bit of creative freedom throughout the week where it's not all work and it's too easy sometimes for it to become like that. And then the next goal is also kind of vague, but again, I do know that things can change with this quite regularly, and I know that my week can change quite regularly. So to set myself a really, set in stone goal with this one can be difficult, but I would love to make more time for yoga and the gym. I love going to the gym. I love doing yoga, and it has just been so difficult in the last few months getting into winter. It's been really tough just to get outside and actually start working out again. And I don't know, even doing yoga at home, I was getting into a bit of a phase where I just wasn't doing it enough. I would sort of go really well for a few days, and then suddenly I wouldn't do it for 3 weeks. So I want to change that. I want to get back to the gym and be going, I used to say to myself, if I could get to the gym 3 times a week, that was really good for me. I felt really good in myself, and getting to the gym 3 times a week would be really ideal for me. But I understand that I'm going to have to sort of build it up slowly to make sure I stick to the routine, and also to make sure that I'm not too unfit and just dive into it, 5 days a week. That's never good either. So I'd like to do 3 times a week at the gym and a couple of times, during the week for yoga. Yoga would be nice to start off with every day, to be honest. But again, sticking to a routine like that, sometimes when I know how much my week can fluctuate from day to day, sometimes it's not easy, but I'm definitely going to set that as more of a focus for the next month. So that is basically my monthly reset, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know if I'm going to do more of these videos in future. I would like to, but definitely let me know in the comments if you'd like me to. If you want to see more vlog style videos as well, definitely let me know. I would love to do a little bit more of that, since I have a whole travel channel dedicated to vlogging basically, but it never seems to cross over into my other channels. So I'd like to do a little bit more of that here. Let me know what you think. Let me know your goals for your monthly reset, if you're doing one, and what you're planning on doing for the next month or for the month of July in general. I really like hearing how other people plan their goals and set their goals. So definitely let me know if you've got any specific ones in the comment section below. But I hope you really enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, make sure you do, because I'll be posting a lot more videos in future. But thank you so much again for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.